Well, welcome to what for me is a very exciting start to Escape to the Country. This beautifully preserved de Havilland Sea Vixen first entered service with the Royal Navy back in 1960, and it forms just part of a fascinating collection of aircraft that is now based on what was once one of the RAF's most illustrious airfields, a base which in itself was also home to a man who many regard as perhaps the RAF's most famous of pilots. But where are we? Well, join me in just a moment and I'll tell you. Today's buyers are hoping to turn their backs on city life and embrace the wonder of the countryside. Jennifer, you wanted views.
Oh, that's what I want.
And there are plenty of gems out there to get them excited.
You're doing very well, Jules.
Hurrah! Well, today we are in West Sussex, and this is the rather splendid collection of aircraft at the former RAF Tangmere, an airfield that played such a crucial role during the summer of 1940, defending the skies above southern Britain during the Battle of Britain. But in 1941, it was also home to the RAF's legendary fighter pilot, Douglas Bader. Now, the collection today houses aircraft that date not just from the Second World War, but also from pretty much every period and every conflict that Britain has been involved in since, including the Falklands. But Tangmere as a whole has also evolved post-war. On the other side of the airfield, an enormous and very modern high-tech family business are busy producing something which I think most of us will be enjoying this summer, something which I hope I'm going to get a real taste for later on in the show. West Sussex is a peaceful part of the British Isles, located on the south coast of England. It was established as a county in its own right in 1974, and today is home to approximately 780,000 people. At its heart are the magnificent South Downs, over 600 square miles of stunning national parkland. And boasting one of the mildest climates in the UK, West Sussex is a rich agricultural region. At the last count, there were over 125,000 sheep on the South Downs alone. The county also offers historic and cultural centres, such as the cathedral city of Chichester. The county's enviable position also means it's home to miles of impressive and award-winning coastline. One of its popular seaside towns is Bognor Regis, the first resort to be developed for bathing and referred to fondly by Queen Victoria as Dear Little Bognor. If shopping for antiques is your thing, head inland to the attractive market town of Petworth. A former winner of Antiques Town of the Year, there are rumoured to be upwards of 30 different dealers selling a variety of interesting collectibles. This attractive and varied slice of Britain offers an appealing package for those seeking a not-so-remote rural escape. Well, with heaps of coastal charm, beautiful landscapes, a fabulous property market and excellent transport links into central London, West Sussex certainly makes an attractive county in which to set up home. But of course, all of that is reflected in the property prices here. The average price of a detached home is currently £420,000. That's a whopping £136,000 above the national figure. So why have today's buyers decided that this county is for them? Well, let's meet them and find out. Retired tour operator Jennifer and her husband, travel journalist Peter, have been married for 11 years after first meeting at a business lunch.
Jennifer tasted the wine at lunch and very bravely said she thought that it was corked. And as I had ready past the wine, there was some consternation, but actually she was absolutely right. So my respect for her started at that moment.
He's very conscientious in his work, but he's also very affectionate and very thoughtful, and a lovely person to be with.
The couple have lived together in central London for the past 13 years. They own a Grade 2 listed home built back in 1827, which is located close to the River Thames.
When the Jubilee was on, we had a big party in the house because obviously we could see the boats, and we had lots of wine and eats and a jolly good day with friends and family.
We certainly had a better day than poor Prince Philip, who got a urinary infection.
They are extremely fond of their period property, but the older they get, the more difficult the house is to manage, as is city living. So now that Peter has decided to wind down towards retirement, they've set their sights on a more peaceful lifestyle.
It's going to be quite difficult because I've lived here for nearly 50 years. So certainly the cultural side of London I shall miss. What I won't miss is the traffic, the congestion, the expense, just the number of people.
I will certainly miss all the amenities, but I won't miss the pollution. I'm looking forward to some really lovely countryside air and being able to go out and enjoy the countryside.
Peter's had a long and illustrious career, but when he's not jet-setting around the world, the couple share a common interest.
We both enjoy cooking. Peter especially, it's one of his big hobbies. With a larger kitchen and more time on his hands, he could really enjoy himself in the kitchen. We have a little difficulty working together in the kitchen, but perhaps in a larger kitchen that might disappear.
Peter has 3 daughters from a previous marriage, 2 of whom have their own families. They both live in Surrey, the neighbouring county to West Sussex, which is just one of the reasons why Jennifer and Peter have chosen the area.
I feel it will bring us together. I think it'll help us enjoy doing things together, going out together more, excursions, just being more involved with each other.
So now that their house is on the market, Jennifer and Peter feel it's the perfect time to begin their search.
I think that we need to do it now so that we can enjoy our next house. If we leave it much longer, it'll be too late.
Jennifer and Peter are used to having a vast range of theatres, cinemas and museums on their doorstep, so to quench their cultural thirst, the couple would like to be located within a half-hour's drive of Chichester, which boasts one of the most respected theatres outside of London's West End. But before we start our search, I'm meeting them down in West Sussex to learn more about what they want from their new home. Well, Peter, Jennifer, welcome to West Sussex, an escape to the country. And I hope a week of beautiful weather and some beautiful properties for you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Now, what's interesting for me, Peter, is that you are leaving a beautiful riverside home in London, which many people would die for. Why the move now?
Because it's in London.
Fair enough.
It is a lovely house, but it is slightly impractical for us now. And we both actually genuinely want to go back to the country because we both have roots in our own ways in the country.
So give us a rough idea of what your new home should have in it to make it work for you.
Well, I would love wonderful views, countryside views. I like Georgian period homes or perhaps Victorian, but it's that Georgian feel of high ceilings, big rooms, garden, not too large, we're not gardeners, something I can just sit out and enjoy the sun.
How many bedrooms do we need?
Minimum 3, but I think preferably 4, but the important thing for me would be 3 bathrooms. We need 1 each and 1 for the guests.
1 each? Gosh, that's rather splash, isn't it? I like the idea of that. And in terms of space, living space, you know, paint a picture of what you're going to indulge yourselves with.
Well, I think it's the old thing that everybody wants is a nice kitchen breakfast room, I'd say, because we'd like a separate dining room.
Yeah.
And also, I'd like to be on maximum 2 floors. We currently live in a 4-storey house, which years coming along is just too much. And a huge study for Peter.
Well, I was just going to come on to the study, Peter, because that's very much your domain. Many people say, oh, yeah, we want to study, we want a bit of a home office, but actually for you, this is a genuine place of work.
It is. I write and intend to continue writing if anybody will still buy the stuff.
I'll buy it, I'll read it, don't you worry, yeah. Now, as you probably know, West Sussex is not the cheapest part of the country, so how big's the budget?
Well, the budget is 900,000, which could be extended slightly. If you find us a fabulous place, we could go up to 950.
Wow, that's a pretty good budget. I'm no longer worried about... I'm no longer worried at all. That opens up the horizon here beautifully. Well, look, we've got some gorgeous weather. We've got the property market here in West Sussex at our disposal, along with its countryside and your very generous £900,000 to £950,000. Let's see what we can find.
Thank you.
Peter and Jennifer have a very healthy budget, and they're looking for a property that's easy to manage with a maximum of 2 floors. Ideally, the home will be full of character, have 4 bedrooms, their own separate bathrooms, wonderful country views, and a large study for Peter to write in. And in a perfect world, well, Jennifer would like to be within walking distance of local amenities. We've picked out a winning selection of properties that vary in style, but which deliver the character and charm our buyers are looking for. We won't reveal the price of each home until they've had a good look around. And we'll be building up to the mystery house, which could level the competition. We're starting our search in the desirable village of Bosham on the banks of Chichester Harbour. The area is particularly popular with sailing enthusiasts, and this quaint waterside residence has a rich history. It was once inhabited by Romans and is featured on the Bayer Tapestry. Bosham itself is served by a good selection of quality pubs and tea rooms, and the village has a strong sense of community. The property I'm showing them is less than a 5-minute drive inland towards Chichester. It's one of 2 impressively converted detached barns, completed in 2011. In you come. Right, well, we have come up with this converted beauty. Built originally about 1750. Many of the original beams survive, but it was all done up 4 years ago.
Looks big, and it looks as though it might be quite bright. There's a lot of glass there.
And it's got lots of bathrooms. And a huge kitchen. How about that? Come and have a look. The internal footprint of this barn covers over 3,000 square feet, and the ground floor is open plan, split into 3 modern living areas. Now then, Jennifer, come on in, because I think this is remarkable.
Wow.
Speechless.
Speechless. It's enormous. It's such a nice, clean space. It's so beautifully done.
There's a little sort of mezzanine there. Is that where it goes around the corner?
Ah, well, no, you have got 2 sets of stairs here. One there and one there. They both lead up to 2 bedrooms each of the 4 that are on offer.
It does appeal.
I certainly wouldn't rule it out. I think it's an exciting building.
Come and have a look at the kitchen. Look at this. Again, not small. Funky, young, slick.
That's amazing. I'm not sure that I like that layout, but it could be made cosy and...
I think I'd go for something which was more of a kitchen
nice
living room,
breakfast.
as it were. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where should we go next? We've got 2 staircases to choose from. Let's go up this one. Running from left to right along the back of the building is a half landing that links the ground and first floors. We're accessing the first floor via this landing from the staircase at the kitchen end. Here we find 2 shower rooms and stairs that serve the upstairs bedrooms. These 2 bedrooms are lofty and well-proportioned doubles with exposed beams that add character. Now, technically, this is used as a guest room.
A guest room.
It's not bad, is it? This is one of the 2 en-suites that are here. The en-suites have showers. So this is mirrored, effectively, next door. So that staircase we've just come up from the kitchen would offer you a sort of a guest wing.
I like that.
There's a room. I think it's lovely.
It's the wardrobe space worries me.
Really?
Yeah.
So you couldn't imagine anything freestanding, adding to what's already here?
Not enough.
Wow, how much are you bringing with you? I mean, is this not time for a clear-out, I'm beginning to think? Well, look, before we go outside and talk about the price, let's go and have a look at the bedroom they've given over as a study, because you do need somewhere to work.
Yes.
You're a very accomplished writer, Peter, and I don't want you to be without. So let's go and find you somewhere of your very own. We're making our way back downstairs and heading for the northern end of the barn. Here, the half landing consists of a relaxing mezzanine and a high-spec family bathroom. And once again, there are 2 separate staircases leading up to the remaining bedrooms. The smaller bedroom is being used as a study, giving the master bedroom sole access to the family bathroom. Now, it's hard to judge, but I suppose this is probably fractionally the smallest of the bedrooms, but they've got it set up as a study.
It's an area where you can be quiet and concentrate.
No problem with anything colour-wise.
Right then, well, let's see if you love the price. We'll talk about that now. Jennifer was originally wowed by this converted barn, but I'm finding it hard to gauge just how they're feeling now. They asked for a manageable garden, and although there are no views from the main living area, it does afford some overlooking nearby fields. By the main entrance, there's another lawn garden with well-stocked borders and a nicely designed patio for outdoor dining. So all that remains is to find out just how much they think this place is on the market for. So then, What's coming next, Jennifer?
Oh gosh.
Yes.
How much? And I'm first.
You're going to go first, yeah. How much is it on the market for?
I think because of the quality and the position, 925.
925, yeah. Peter?
850.
850, no nonsense there, straight in with a very cheeky 850. Well, you've sort of straddled it, actually. Because this is on the market for 895.
Ah.
It was over 9, but they've reduced it.
Right.
All right, so 895. Have a look around, go and enjoy it, and I will catch up with you a little bit later on.
Great.
This impeccably finished converted barn could be bought for £55,000 under the top end of Peter and Jennifer's budget. It offers exactly the number of bedrooms and bathrooms they wanted and is conveniently located less than a 15-minute drive from the cultural hotspot that is Chichester.
When I got inside, it really exceeded expectations. I love the way that they've used the old beams. There's some lovely brackets and things like that. So the inside was stunning.
Gosh, wardrobe. That's not a bad room. It's a magnificent space, but the property is all about the property. Whereas I really want to come to the country to enjoy the country from my garden. I haven't got a view. Wow.
All done?
Yes, thank you.
Well,
Nice.
very interesting day. If nothing else, I think we've learned that you do quite like a barn conversion.
I must say it had a lot going for it.
Well, let's see if we can find you another one tomorrow. Come on. Found on the upper reaches of the River Arun is another West Sussex gem. Horsham is an historic trading post that we've sent our food-loving couple to in search of a special tasting. They're visiting the Horsham Museum and meeting up with curator Jeremy Knight. Jeremy has offered to shed some light on the town's history.
Horsham was actually created in 947 for trade, and the market trade was so popular that we had over 4 fairs a year, and 5 days a year there were markets at various times in the town. And Horsham had developed a number of specialties and became well known for gingerbread in the 19th century, with over 17 gingerbread sellers in the town.
Horsham gingerbread was clearly in demand, and when Jeremy was looking through some of the museum's archives, he discovered that the delicacy had a very famous fan.
The poet Shelley, who was one of the world's great poets, his very first letter he ever wrote was about gingerbread. And we actually have a copy of the letter in a book that was published and written by his cousin. Tell me the bearer not to forget to bring me a fairing, which is some gingerbread, sweetmeat, hunting nuts and a pocketbook.
So historically, Horsham gingerbread went all over the country.
We know that Horsham gingerbread was sold in London, we know it was sold in Brighton, in Lewes. It was sold, as far as we can tell, far and wide.
In 2009, Jeremy acquired an old cookbook which included a recipe for Horsham gingerbread written by one of Shelley's aunts. So the next step on their heritage gastro tour is to meet Leslie Ward, a local food historian who's been working with the museum trying to reproduce the original recipe.
Hi, Peter.
Leslie,
I'm
hello.
Leslie. Hello.
Hello, Leslie.
Jennifer.
And after a year of trials, she perfected the mix of ginger powder, black treacle, butter, wholemeal flour, mixed peel, oats and sugar.
OK, so let's start cooking. I've got some black treacle here, Peter, so if you can be in charge of that, if you can put that on the cooker. You need to add butter.
That's a
Pop it
lot
in.
of butter, isn't it?
Well, you need the butter for the flavour.
Whilst Peter melts the treacle, butter and sugar, Leslie gets Jennifer to mix up the rest of the ingredients. It's thought Indian ginger was first exported to Europe as early as the 1st century AD. But as world trade boomed in the 19th century, spices like ginger became more readily available. Indian ginger powder is what the original Horsham bakers used over 200 years ago because it's mild and aromatic. Leslie too uses powdered rather than fresh ginger, but she's given the recipe a new addition to make it her own.
By adding the oats, I kind of stabilised it. Every gingerbread maker added different things, and I felt happy that I'd added my own. So how are we doing here?
Now this is boiling.
What you need to do is pour it into the dry mix, then Jennifer can mix it all up.
Oh, that looks gooey. Let's tough going when it gets mixed.
A large quantity is quite hard work, actually.
I think that's just about ready now.
The mix is poured into trays,
It's getting quite solid, isn't it?
Yes, it cools down.
smoothed out and popped into a hot oven. And 20 minutes later, the gingerbread is ready.
They look fantastic.
They smell good too, don't
Look
they?
at that.
Leslie lets the gingerbread sit for 10 minutes and then uses traditional square cutters to divide up the portions. It's time for the cooks to head into the garden for that all-important tasting.
It's really quite fruity. I can taste it, the lemon and the orange, and gosh, it's much stronger than I anticipated.
It's the ginger. It's quite subtle, and then it comes through, really gives it real heat.
It's the ginger from India that does it. It doesn't hit you in the face like some of the hotter gingers.
No.
It's delicious. Thank you.
Yes, fantastic, Leslie. Thank you so much.
So after sampling a slice of Sussex's culinary heritage, it's time for our buyers to take stock of what they've seen so far. It's day 2 of our property search in West Sussex, and with a maximum budget of £950,000, married couple Peter and Jennifer have decided to sell their central London pad and start a new life in the countryside. Coming up, we've got our mystery house to show them. This is your main living space.
This is a bit special.
And I visit one of Europe's largest nurseries here on home soil and risk being mauled for the sake of pest control.
Is this going to bite or anything?
No,
What's
they
in
don't.
there? No? Look. Oh, you're joking, like little fleas.
Well, it's our final day of house hunting here in West Sussex with 2 very discerning buyers in the form of Jennifer and Peter. Coming up, we have 2 more properties. Last but not least, of course, our mystery house, something which I don't really think they'd have looked at on paper, but looking ahead to their future, I think it could really work. Is my hunch right? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But of course, before we get to that, we have our penultimate property to show them. Now, Jennifer has been very clear. She wants something that's peaceful, that's quiet, with far-reaching countryside views, but which also gives them access on foot to local amenities. That, in my experience, is a very difficult combination to find. But on this occasion, well, we might just have done it. Our next home is located in the South Downs National Park, a 25-minute drive northeast of Chichester in sought-after Amberley. This scenic parish is a real jewel in West Sussex's crown. Recorded in the Domesday Book as having just 17 villagers living here, Amberley also has a castle that proudly stands in the northern part of the village and dates back to the early 1100s. The River Arun runs through the parish, which has a good variety of amenities and a direct train to central London taking an hour and 20 minutes. Less than a 10-minute walk from Amberley Castle is our next property, which has an attractive timber and render frontage. But the real selling point is its location, and at the back of it are the kind of views that I think Peter and Jennifer are after. Now, Jennifer, you wanted views.
Oh, you've done it.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what I want.
You know, I think this is a really good spot, location-wise.
Yeah.
That's the property. What do you think?
Oh, looks sensational.
It started out life in about 1860 as a pub. It was then converted into a home about 1960, so 100 years later. It has 4 bedrooms, one of which is in a 1-bedroom annex over there.
Great.
Great.
And I'm thinking that the annex might make a great writing studio for you.
Right. Yes.
Let's get in.
Yeah, come on then, this way. Let's start with the kitchen.
Well, I was confident the wonderful outlook would hit the mark, and I'm delighted at Jennifer's enthusiasm to view the rest of this period property. I'm just hoping the stylish kitchen has the same impact.
There we are. What do you reckon?
That's terrific. Look at the views as well. That works.
It's really nice. I think you've got a nice mixture of the kind of modern country kitchen, as it were, but a nice bit of more elegant dining through there.
You're doing very well, Jules.
Hurrah! We're finally getting there, edging our way forward to a solution. Now, through that door there, you've got access to the annex, which I'm going to let you 2 explore on your own a little bit later on. But in the meantime, let's continue this way.
Okay.
We're making our way into the spacious hallway, past a good-sized study with fitted wardrobe, shelves and desk space. But our next stop is a beautiful room where I imagine our couple will do most of their unwinding.
Now, this is the main living room.
Right. It's nice having the dual aspect windows. It's possibly a little smaller than I might have liked.
Next door, they've got a sort of study set up, but you could, in theory, open that up,
Yes.
Right.
which would give you perhaps a bit more living space if you didn't want to have that as a
Yes.
separate study, because you've got so many other options outside for that.
Yeah. It's a good old traditional family English house.
Exactly right, sir.
Yeah.
OK, look, let's have a look upstairs and see what you make of that.
It's good to hear they're keeping an open mind, but of course any structural alterations may be subject to planning permission. We're making our way upstairs to the first floor where there are 3 bedrooms. 2 are good-sized doubles with more fitted wardrobes, one of which has a sloping ceiling and exposed beams. These rooms all share a well-appointed family bathroom, but I want to show Jennifer and Peter the master.
And then this is yours, with built-in storage, Jennifer.
Oh, wow.
Ah, you see?
Yes. Well, you've got chests of drawers, which we've got. There's plenty of room for that there.
And it's also got ensuite with shower and bath. All quite nicely done.
That's good.
Yeah. I think this looks very promising.
It's
yes.
just
Yeah,
about
nice
manageable,
room.
I think.
Right then, well, let's go out to the garden and take in those views again, shall we?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Our buyers have responded really well to this intriguing house. I know they like the terraced garden with its summer house, fruit and veg patch, as well as the wonderful views, but I'm now keen to see what they really think of the price.
Just gorgeous out there.
It's wonderful. It's just what I asked for.
It is what you asked for, but here's the property we really want you to focus on now, and its value.
I would say 925, 935.
925, 935, yeah, Jennifer?
Well, I'd have to go, I think, with an optimistic something like 895.
An optimistic 895. You're a bit more realistic, sir. It's on the market currently for 950. However, I think it is probably open to some sensible offers.
No, there's a huge amount going for it. It's a serious prospect.
Serious contender. Yeah. Good. Well, have another look around. In particular, go and explore the annex. You haven't really seen that yet.
No.
And I will find you somewhere a little bit later on. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Off you go. Yeah.
This house is at the top of their budget, but I think it's their favourite property yet. It offers them character, the living space they wanted, good local amenities and magnificent views, as well as the added bonus of a separate annex for Peter to write in.
This is a surprise. Well, bedroom up there, presumably.
I think it's a really attractive guest room. I mean, terrific independence someone would have here,
Yeah.
and they'd love it.
Yeah, they'd have great
Yeah.
views and
Yeah.
out onto the terrace and
Yeah.
total independence.
No. The position of the property is what I particularly liked about it. It's in a quiet road in a lovely village with that sensational view.
Thinking about this house compared to the other houses we've seen, I would say this probably comes top of the list. But there are concerns about the money we'd have to spend on it.
Ah, just wondering where you had got to. We've got to go.
Lot to think about.
It's a really interesting proposition. I hope it is a serious contender.
It is, without a doubt. I mean, food for thought. This is a feast for thought, I think.
Well, can we top up your appetite with our mystery house, I wonder? Come on.
Our mystery house is located 20 miles further west in another sleepy South Downs village, Stoughton. The surrounding golden rapeseed fields frame this peaceful place. Stoughton may have a remote feel and only one public house, but it's barely a 20-minute drive from the cultural activity in Chichester. Tucked away among the fields and accessed via a country lane is our mystery house. Peter and Jennifer are used to 4-storey living, so we're taking it down a level or two, and there's nothing more rural than an agricultural conversion.
Well, at long last, I can reveal the mystery house. There it is. What do you think?
Well, it's certainly a mystery. It's very difficult to tell quite well what it was, let alone what it is now.
Is it all of it?
It's all of it. Everything you can see is yours.
The word bungalow comes to mind.
I knew that was going to surface. I'm going to call it a single-storey cowshed conversion.
Oh, I always wanted to live in a cowshed.
You see? Well, I use the word cowshed specifically because that is what it was. It's not your classic sort of two-storey, great big Sussex barn. But let's call it a barn conversion, you know, for want of argument. So let's not use the bungalow word anymore.
OK, agreed.
The original building was constructed in the 1800s from brick and flint, and it's awash with timber beams. It was converted into a home in the 1970s, and further alterations have been made ever since.
So, dining room there. We'll talk about that a little more in a moment, but this is your main living space.
This is a bit special.
Do you like it?
I'm not sure yet, but I find it very attractive. Something catches your eye everywhere you look.
Ooh, it's moving you, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it moving Peter?
Yeah, I like the beams and all those trusses, and I like that big brick chimney breast. That's
Yeah.
great.
I love the windows. I
Yeah.
like the fact that you could open that up and bring the outside inside.
Absolutely, yeah, imagine it. And I think you could have a nice dining area here, say, making the best use of the views out that way. And maybe the dining room as it stands could become your study.
Yes.
Come and have a look through here. This is the kitchen. There we are. Not enormous, to be fair, but beautifully formed, I might say.
Nice worktops, but
Yeah.
yes, just a little on the small side.
If you think this is a little disappointing, do not worry, because I am going to more than make up for it with the master bedroom. Yeah, oh yes, come and look at this.
Including the master, our mystery barn has 5 bedrooms. One is dual aspect with enough space for a double bed. Another is being used as a cosy guest room. And the smallest space is currently set up as a study with doors leading out onto the garden. They all share a family bathroom with walk-in shower, but the master bedroom is en suite and has access to a studio that is being used as a further study.
So finally, at the end of the corridor, this is what's on offer, and I'm hoping it will not disappoint you.
Isn't that astonishing? Can't help looking up all the time.
It's lovely, isn't it?
No, there's a glorious room.
And look, it's got loads of storage.
Wardrobes.
Hurrah, look, lots of built-in storage. Now, if you look ahead, you've got 2 doors there. On the left, that's currently your ensuite bathroom with bath. On the right, a bigger room that they're using as a study. But I'm thinking you probably wouldn't want to walk through the bedroom to go to work, Peter, in which case you could, because you've got the plumbing next door, make that another ensuite, but perhaps with a dressing area as well, because it's bigger. And then you can fight over which one you each have.
Yeah, that would work very well.
Yeah. This is a beautiful room. Actually, really stunning room.
Right then, should we go outside and talk about the price? Because that, I'm sure, will have a bearing on things.
The garden is a peaceful space with a terrace to sit out on, a lawn to stroll around in, and a fish pond to encourage wildlife. But it's the glorious countryside setting that I'm hoping will really excite our buyers.
The garden, I think, is big enough for what you want to be worried about.
Yeah.
And certainly manageable enough. Now you know what's on offer, let's wrap it all up with the difficult bit, the nitty-gritty, the money.
The money. I suspect this is going to be over our basic budget, so I'm going to pitch on 920.
920, Peter?
Well, I'm astonished by that, because I'm going to go quite the other direction. I'm going to say 825.
825?
Yeah.
Wow, the scales of optimism have shifted between you today. Well, it's 875. What do you think about that?
Well, it does give us a bit of room to spend on a few alterations that we might like to do.
Absolutely. Go and have another look around,
Right.
and I will find you a little bit later on.
OK.
Our mystery barn is another property we've found that's under budget. Peter and Jennifer have loved the character it offers, its manageable garden and countryside location. Plus, that extra bedroom means there are options for Peter's study.
Jules brought us up this lane, and ahead of us was this wonderful scenery. Then we turned into the gateway, into a very pretty little garden, which was surrounded by an 8-foot wall, which was, again, a nice wall, but it cut the view off.
My favourite room in the house is undoubtedly the master bedroom. I think it's a stunning room. But this house doesn't really offer a natural room for a study, I think.
West Sussex in the sunshine. It's like being in the Bahamas here. Hey, here we go. I hope you didn't rush for me. I'm enjoying it out here.
Not at all. Every nook and cranny.
Good. Well, I think we've given you lots to think about this week. Wow, maybe a bit bamboozled, but you are about to spend a fortune, so you do need to think about it. Fancy a beer?
Ah, yeah, Tom.
Yeah, come on. Towards the southern end of the county is the former RAF base at Tangmere. It was established after the First World War but closed in 1970. However, 18 years later, new life was breathed into the site when Dutchman Dirk Howling bought the land and established a family business producing peppers. I'm meeting up with General Manager Gerard Vonk to find out more about Tangmere's 21st century successes. Gerard.
Jules, welcome to Tangmere Apple Nurseries.
Thank you very much indeed. Gerard, nobody serving on this airfield during the Second World War could have ever imagined that it would find a new life as the centre of the UK's pepper production 70-odd years later. It's an astonishing place, this.
Thank you very much. We have got over here 75 acres of greenhouse growing red, green, yellow and orange peppers.
Now, how many peppers do you get out of 75 acres of greenhouse?
About 65 million.
65 million?
65 million.
And in terms of our consumption as a country, how does that equate as a percentage?
It's about 30%.
What persuaded you to bring your operation here to West Sussex and Tangmere?
We are a family business and we came over from Holland to be closer to the consumer, the market. And this part of Sussex is very nice, warm and sunny. Exactly what a pepper plant needs.
Now, you've got a couple of bikes here, I've noticed, Gerard. Is that the best way to get around your 75-acre site?
That's right, and even a healthy one. So,
All
you want
right.
to come along?
Absolutely, yeah, great.
Have this bike.
Thank you very much. And it's not just the cycling that's healthy here. Gerard and his team concentrate on producing sweet or bell peppers. They're all very low in cholesterol and saturated fat, as well as rich in vitamins such as vitamin K that helps with healing and B6 that reduces fatigue. This is absolutely astonishing.
Yes.
How many acres is this greenhouse?
26 acres.
And how many pepper plants have you got?
About 250,000.
250,000?
Yeah.
And I noticed they're all growing up these strings. Are they all planted and sort of strung by hand?
All individually.
And where are these plants in their life cycle?
At the moment, they're halfway. I mean, the end of the year, they will be roughly about 4 meters.
So they'll kind of double that, going right up to the top?
Yeah.
Peppers originated in South America, with wild varieties dating back as far as 5000 BC. It only takes 30 days for a bud to grow into a fully formed fruit. However, at this stage, it's green and still considered immature. It takes a further 3 weeks for the pepper to reach full maturity and change its colour. Now, look, I'm dying to try one. What about that yellow one there? Is that ready to go?
Yeah.
Fabulous, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful pepper. Absolutely perfect. Now, I must confess, Gerard, that when I buy peppers, I don't really ascribe a particular taste to any of the colours. I mean, is there really much of a difference?
Definitely there is. Green is an immature pepper. That's the most tangy, bitter, some people might say.
So what's the sweetest pepper?
Sweetest, I would like to think orange.
Really?
Yes. Red is also a very tasty one.
But what about kind of insects and bugs and things that might destroy the plants?
There are millions of it, but I can show you. Got something for that.
Gerard's taking me to the company's high-tech research and development area, where they test different techniques for producing the perfect product, including pest control.
The 4 main problems we got are aphids, the red spider mite, caterpillar, and thrips.
What's a thrip?
A thrip is like a kind of thunderbug.
How damaging could these pests be? What would they do to the plant?
They can be very damaging. Look over here. There's been actually scuff marks, and it actually deforms a leaf.
Gosh, it does actually, doesn't it?
Potentially, the thrips can actually give a virus to the plant.
And what have you got in there?
We've got over here a predator called Aureus, and they actually eat the thrips.
Is this going to bite or anything?
No,
What's
they
in
don't.
there?
Look, there. Look.
Oh, you're joking? Like little fleas?
Yeah, that's right.
That's astonishing. They are like little fleas. They're jumping around. And what are those?
The granulates, where they actually stay in.
So what do we want to do? Get that on a
Just
leaf?
put them on top of a leaf over here.
There we are.
Yep.
I can feel them on my...
Yeah.
There we are.
There you go.
Off we go, fellas.
Go on.
You know, I think we all tend to take the pepper for granted when we pick it up off the supermarket shelf.
There's much more to a pepper than you think.
There is so much more to it than I could ever have thought. Gerard, thank you very much, mate.
You're welcome.
So from plains to peppers, this part of West Sussex still plays a significant role in the county's heritage. Well, it's been a week of high hopes and high numbers, but have our efforts for Peter and Jennifer been successful? I wonder. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, fine, thank you.
The perfect spot.
Got yours in?
Thank you very much indeed. Well, been quite a week, hasn't it? We've had some lovely weather, gorgeous houses, but have we managed to find you a home that you can move into? Peter?
I think you've come very close. The house in Amberley is very close to, and that view is sensational, and the garden is lovely, and the house could be good. We just want to do a little bit to it, and at the price that it's on at the moment, I just don't think it gives us quite enough room to do it.
I suspect that's your favourite too.
Most definitely. I mean, I just fell in love with the view and the garden there and the terrace. I mean, took the sun most of the day.
And I think the village itself offered you everything you were looking for.
Yeah, and the fact that you could walk to a shop.
A pub and a tea room and all those other lovely things that everybody
and
has.
the station.
And of course the station links back to London. So I can take some heart in the fact that we found you the right property, but just not for the right price.
Yes.
Most definitely.
OK, so the search goes on. What have you really taken away from this experience? Has it helped refine what you're after?
I think it's helped me realise that perhaps I'm expecting a bit too much for our money in this area anyway.
And what about West Sussex itself, Peter, for you?
I think West Sussex is a lovely place to live, and I would like to persevere and give it a bit longer and look at some other places and really hope that we can find one little patch of West Sussex that gives us what we're looking for slightly less money.
Well, it's been an awful lot of fun. I'm glad to hear you haven't been put off this gorgeous county. Your search will continue. Let us know how you get on. It's been a great deal of fun. Very best of luck. And as ever, keep us informed as to how you get on. Cheers.
Cheers.
You know, I love coming to West Sussex. This gorgeous landscape filled with pretty villages and sumptuous houses means that wherever you look, there is something beautiful to see. So you can imagine my surprise when I thought, having come here with a lovely couple armed with £1 million, we would have a pretty successful house hunt. But sadly, this week, it just wasn't to be. But I do think Peter and Jennifer are taking away two really important things. Firstly, a much sharper focus on what their new home needs to be. And secondly, an invigorated determination to finally make this county their new home. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I'll see you next time. If you'd like to escape to the country in England, Scotland, Wales or Northern Ireland and would like our help, you can apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.